From Mr. Irrelevant to now being one of the top paid quarterbacks in the NFL, the 49ers have finally paid Brock Purdy. They have agreed to a 5-year deal worth $256 million. 181 of that is fully guaranteed. And Brock Purdy now becomes the 7th highest paid quarterback in the NFL, making $53 million per season. And I'm so glad that this whole Brock Purdy contract saga is finally over. What annoys me about this discourse around Brock Purdy is that a lot of folks have these contract negotiations misconstrued. The NFL is a production-based business. You get paid based off how well you perform, not how talented you are. And that's why the 49ers didn't overpay Brock Purdy. They paid him what he was worth. You see, folks think that Brock Purdy doesn't deserve what he's getting paid because he's not talented enough. But Trey Lance was more talented than Brock Purdy. But he didn't give the San Francisco 49ers the same production that Purdy gave them. Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott are more talented quarterbacks than Brock Purdy. But yet Brock Purdy has more playoff wins than those quarterbacks. And Dak, Jordan Love have played on some really good teams. Just because Kyle Shanahan is one of the best offensive minds in the NFL doesn't mean that every quarterback that he puts into his system turns into gold. If that was the case, why did Trey Lance become a bust? He wasn't good enough. Why did Jimmy Garoppolo fizzle out? He wasn't good enough. That's why he now is a backup for Matthew Stafford. You don't try to play hardball with a quarterback that has given you proven productivity, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs when you want your starting quarterback, your franchise quarterback, to play their most consistent high-level football. And that's what Brock Purdy has done. This isn't Madden, people. This is real life. You don't say, oh, you're not the most talented, so we're not going to pay you $53 million a year. We're going to try to see if we can upgrade and find a Lamar, a Josh Allen, or Patrick Mahomes. Newsflash. Those are once-in-a-lifetime kind of quarterbacks. You don't need to have a specimen to win a Super Bowl from your quarterback position. We've seen far less talented quarterbacks than Brock Purdy, like Trent Dilfer, Rich Gannon, win Super Bowls. I think what gets overlooked about Brock Purdy is how consistent he has been in the biggest moments for the 49ers. Last year was a down year because he was down the majority of his top players. Brandon Ayuk had his season cut short early. Trent Williams was injured. Chris McCaffrey got injured. There hasn't been a single great quarterback that's in the Hall of Fame that hasn't played with Hall of Fame level talent that at least has a Super Bowl ring to their name. Name me your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. You know what they all are going to have in common? They have good coaching and a good supporting cast around them. Great organizations don't always necessarily need to have the most talented quarterback to be a consistent Super Bowl contender. What matters more, talent or consistent production? Justin Herbert is more talented than Brock Purdy, so why is it that Brock Purdy has more playoff success than Justin Herbert? Why has Brock Purdy have more playoff wins than Lamar? Despite Lamar having the better team, the better situation, being more talented, Brock Purdy has gone further in the postseason than what Lamar has. As much as I love Lamar, he doesn't always play his best football in January. It's worth knowing that you're paying for a quarterback that no matter what, in the biggest game, as long as you always have a somewhat serviceable supporting cast around him, he can win you games. He can get you to a Super Bowl. The 49ers didn't lose that Super Bowl a few years ago to Kansas City because Brock Purdy wasn't good enough. They lost that game because Kyle Shanahan got too conservative. He'd rather say, I'll take the 3 and pray to God that my defense can stop arguably the greatest quarterback in NFL history. No, you have to roll the dice. You have to be aggressive. But you don't do that at the expense of getting rid of a proven productive quarterback. Do you not know how many teams right now, if Brock Purdy was available for a trade, would be jumping at the bit to acquire him? The Steelers could be a Super Bowl contender with Brock Purdy at the helm at quarterback. It pays to have somebody that can give you 4 good games in January to lead you to a Lombardi trophy, because that is all that you need. And this is what gets so misinterpreted in today's NFL. We care more about rings, we care more about flash than we do of guys who actually have the ability to get the job done. Where Brock Purdy is drafted is how people define his abilities. And that's just bullshit. It doesn't matter where you're drafted. It matters how well you perform after where you were drafted. And Brock Purdy has been the greatest 7th round pick in the history of the NFL. Mr. Irrelevant is a meme. Nobody takes it seriously. Brock Purdy saved the 49ers from poverty. When they traded up the farm to land Trey Lance and it didn't work out, that should have set this team back several years. That should have gotten both John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan shafted. But you want to know why they were able to keep their jobs and they were still able to be a Super Bowl contender? Because Brock Purdy saved their ass. Brock Purdy deserves every penny that he is receiving with this new extension from the 49ers. It's not about how talented you are. It's about how productive you are. How well do you perform when the lights are the brightest and the biggest stages? Dak, Herbert, Jordan Love, these guys have come up short in the playoffs, and they haven't delivered when their teams have needed them to the most. Brock Purdy has. He's outplayed Dak Prescott in the playoffs. He's outplayed Jordan Love in the playoffs. What more does Brock Purdy need to prove to you people to get the respect that he has earned? If any quarterback that played for the 49ers could be just as good as Brock Purdy, why did we not see C.J. Beathard, Brian Hoyer, Nick Mullens, and Trey Lance have the same level of success that we've seen Brock Purdy have? Even Jimmy Garoppolo was not as good as what Purdy was. When the 49ers made their first Super Bowl run with Jimmy Garoppolo, it wasn't because Jimmy Garoppolo was playing great football. No, they won and made it to a Super Bowl in spite of Jimmy Garoppolo. He was mid to barely above average. That's why he's a backup. If Purdy was available in the open market right now, teams would view him in a higher regard than Jimmy Garoppolo. For everyone out there that says the 49ers could have found a better option for less, name me who those options are. Are you telling me that they shouldn't have paid Brock Purdy and ran it with Mac Jones? They should have traded for Kirk Cousins? Brock Purdy is nothing like Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins. He actually shows up in the postseason. Neither one of those guys do. That's why they have been tremendously overpaid based off the production that they have delivered throughout their careers. Purdy is the complete opposite. Yeah, he may not be the most physically impressive quarterback in the world. He may not have the strongest arm. He may not be the most athletic, but the guy delivers. He's the mailman. No matter what, you always know that your package is going to come on time when you have Brock Purdy starting for you at quarterback. Nobody can win with a garbage team around them. You may be able to survive and get to the playoffs having an average to below average roster. But like we've seen this past year with the Washington Commanders, as good as what Jaden Daniels was when they ran into the buzzsaw that was the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game, they got destroyed. You can still win with Purdy despite the money that you're paying him. Do y'all forget that the salary cap in the NFL increases every single year, and the majority of the 49ers' best players are already locked up? You already paid Nick Bosa. You paid Brandon Ayuk. You drafted pretty well. You've drafted Jawan Jennings. You paid him. Ricky Pearsall's on a rookie deal. He should be pretty good. You just paid George Kittle. The 49ers have done everything the right way to make sure that paying Brock Purdy doesn't deplete their opportunity to still compete for a Super Bowl. The 49ers Super Bowl window is still open because of Brock Purdy. It's not closed because they paid him. If they didn't pay him, that will close the Super Bowl window because you don't know if the guy who you could replace Brock Purdy with would be able to give you the same level of production in the playoffs that he has given you these past couple of seasons. Brock Purdy did not get overpaid. He got paid what he was worth based off his production in the playoffs, how consistent he's been, and the fact that John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan know that they have a quarterback that is capable of being able to win and deliver in the playoffs and possibly win them a championship if the stars are perfectly aligned.